It's Mike Hamilton here from Trade Easy Way. So just going to walk through the markets and show you what I'm thinking. I'm currently short this S&P, and the reason why I'm short is because several reasons. First off, we're really struggling up here. Potential bull flag, I appreciate that, but we need to reconnect with this average for a start. The main support's down there at 76.50. Volume is falling off here at these highs, so I think we're quite divergent. If you look at the weekly with the Bollinger Bands, so we've had 3 weeks of high or closes. Last week was only marginal. Volume is coming down. You can see this histogram here. This is basically a histogram of MACD. So if you just think of this as a MACD histogram, we are making lower highs here. So we are divergent. There's the divergence in the RSI. RSI can do the same thing. So we're making new highs but lower highs in these indicators with the volume dropping off, and really struggling up here at these highs. So the other thing that I've got my mind fixed on is this. If I now take you over to the VIX volatility index, I think this is bottoming and picking up. And also the other main factor is cyclical. We're just coming out of peak summer, heading towards midterm elections in the US. This is typically one of the most volatile periods of the year anyway. So if this VIX volatility index, fear index, picks up, if we hold here and start heading towards this 20 and push through 20, then we could see a lot of volatility. Last time we were up there at 27, 28 was end of March. So the market's dipped right into that March, and then we've seen quite a decent bull market since. So just beginning to sort of think about some short-term shorts on this, and therefore, so what does that do to my stock portfolio, my selections, my plans? Well, let's just go through that. Let's tell you what, before I do that, let's look at the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ has had this big drop off into end of July. It picked up, and here we are struggling at this zone that we fell from. So if we make a lower high here on the NASDAQ and then subsequently break that support, that is a very bearish signal, as you can imagine. So if you look at the weekly here, so one week lower close down there, week beginning 27th of July. Pretty feeble week last week, only just closed higher, but looking like we might want to come lower here. That's the case for short-term bearism. If these markets so we're above all the averages, so we are clearly in the bull zone. So if the bulls are going to win over this, they need to buy this dip, make sure it doesn't get underneath this level. Make sure we don't start opening and closing underneath 27,800. So that will be the buy area, 29,700 or 800. So if we drop down to there and hold, then we could ping up, get above these recent highs, and then go and visit 33,000 potentially into year end. But I'm just looking for increased volatility as we get into this week, come out of the end of August, get ready for the midterms and so on. The other key factor in this is the 10-year notes. Let me see if I can find them. Hang on a second. because they are, the yields on these are really picking up. So if this is an ETF of the 10-year note, so if this gives way, oh, that's no good looking at that. Let's find a better chart. Key thing that I've got, sorry, this is the US dollar yen for the video just picked up. If this really picks up and the yen collapses, we're in trouble. So I lost my train of thought now. Let's move on anyway. Let's start to look at, let's go through a few staples. BT is pulling right back into the £2 mark. By the way, if this market does get overall bearish, then the stocks, sectors to watch out for are healthcare and miners. If things get really rough, then then I need to talk to you about other completely different aspects. But so BT, and what else we got? Let's look at EasyJet, still pulling up. You would have thought that will get through £7. If that does, let's look at it on the weekly. If that breaks higher, we should get through £8 mark. Two bidders in the running for this. So EasyJet still looks higher at the moment. And quickly moving on, we got Polar making a lower high. So I'm hoping Polar is, I would like to buy Polar around about the £7 mark. This is a very good dividend stock that tracks the US markets. Shawbrook Bank volume picked up on back end of last week, so if we can get above 340, 350 sometime soon, then that would be good. There's only one bidder in EasyJet, right? Okay. Well, that narrows the odds, but let's see what happens. Thanks for that update. That's useful. And now I'm looking at CTech holding up. Looks as if we can go to 250. We're only 230 now, not far off. SSP Group. Now, I would love that to come down to the 190 area, at which point I would get into that. Volumes are low up here, so I think that is likely. Moving on, we've got Wix. Seeing 202, just down there at 194p. Central Asian Metals, pullback so far getting bought, seeing an increase in volume on this dip. So my target on this one is at least £2, 182 to £2, and a possible move back into the year end, maybe into next year, through the 250 and on towards £3 mark. If I pull back from that, you can see this pattern. So we had a very bearish pattern down there. We've broken out and we're pulling back into this support. So this is one of the best patterns that's out there, because if we break through this little funnel, pull back and hold, then that bodes really well for these numbers that I'm talking about on Central Asian Metals. Plenty of time to get in if you want in on this. 145, you've bid on 145 but don't get filled, you're going to have to bid at least 150 plus. bear with me one moment. Just want to check on a trade. Right, an old one we haven't talked about this for ages. This is Relx PLC, just coming to major support. If you're in this, we could easily see 23 on this. We've just recently seen 28, 29. If we start holding this 24.50, then I think we can pick up again. But pinch back from it. We are trying to hold on this. So with a big drop, then a higher low, just made a lower low there, but it pulled up. The key thing is we broke up through this funnel pattern again. We pulled right back. Now that doesn't worry me. If I'm in a stock where we've done a break up and we pull right back, I'm fine with that, as long as we don't start closing underneath the 23, 22 and lower, and then we start sort of crashing out. But as far as I'm concerned, we've done a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Now we're in so we've done a 3-wave corrective pattern. Now we're doing a 1, 2. So if this area here holds, 3 could potentially take us up to 30 plus. Let's get rid of all this scribbling. But anyway, to cut a long story short, I like that pattern as long as we can hold here and don't start closing lower. So we look as if we can see some lower numbers short term, but I wouldn't be alarmed at seeing 23, 24 as long as we turned around here and didn't start closing underneath it. So that's some good numbers to watch for if you want in on it. Diageo has bounced close to this drop zone. So we dropped from 1875. We've recently been up there at 1830. We're just reconnecting with averages. Might well see 1625 or lower on that. So that's all right. And what else am I looking at? We talked about Wix, Camel, Pan African. That's done a pullback to 103. I would fill my boots if they came back to 95 or a pound thereabouts. Being a miner, being a gold miner, this is, if the markets do get wobbly, this should really pick up. This has been a great stock anyway. It wasn't that long ago we were up there at 190. So it's tracking gold. If we now look at gold, you can see gold's doing a very similar pattern. And then gold is picking up here. So I talked about entering gold at 4,050. Touched 4,000 after I suggested that, but in an ETF, that's no big deal. That's one way of sitting in this without incurring major with just incurring minimal costs. So this has done a similar pattern. If we just get the pen again. So did a 1, 2, 3 wave correction. Did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a mini 5 wave move up into that resistance. Then another 1, 2, 3 wave correction. And then we basically just faded right out into just slightly under 4,000. Now look at this rule here, these touches. So that was the trend line was created there. So we dipped underneath it. Now commodities tend to do this a lot. Commodities, they're thinner markets. They often drop underneath support, but if they come back above support, get ready, because silver did this years ago, and I think when it was at 15 or 20, and here we are at 60. So we pop back after that, we come down and hold, and we've got a very nice move up here. We're just might well pull back to these averages again before resuming and moving to 5,000. that's what I'm seeing. Let's see if it pans out. Nothing is certain in this world, just to reiterate that for anybody looking at this new, who's not familiar with the way the markets work. And moving on again. Now let's start to IQE, doing really well. Bit nervous about the lack of volume down here, but the weeklies is volume's okay. But if that holds up, we should go and see 90p to a pound if we can get above, back up to these 70, 72p highs. Got a lot more to get through, so let me just be very quick again. I'm in these penny stocks and have been for ages. I am taking a bit of heat on these, but because I don't fill my boots, it's not a lot of money. But if this tech capital can hold here, you see this recent volume on early August. And look how the weekly chart looks. So if this area if this 4p holds, I'm looking for this to go all the way short to medium term 10p. This one here, metal one, we keep probing around this 1.2p. But if we can get above this 1.5, then expect that to go to 3-4p. Not that long ago we were up there, back in May 25, we were up there at 55. So why can't that retrace some of that again? Who knows? Stick a few quid in. So this is metals one. I do like the structure of this. It's basically an investment shell for metals. So they've got got big percentages in some decent uranium, gold, copper miners, and so on. So I quite like the occasional bid on a penny stock. Right, let's just move over. Right, this is my new list. So let's go into this. Right, let me just go and find the list. There we are. And what have we got? So Rolls-Royce. Any pullback to 14 on Rolls-Royce is buyable, with a goal to go to £18.20. So the main pullback is 15 currently, but anything deeper will be 14. Will obviously be much better. Let's do an update on this one, Telecom Plus, because I believe you're still in this. Is that right, Andy? So there's a horrible drop from 1435. So let's just measure this. Right, so this 836 is holding, currently 912. So we had a nice move today on volume. So next stop should be the last drop zone, 950. If we can accelerate through that, we should see 1050, and who knows, maybe even a retrace to the drop zone, the main drop zone. So if this is a head and shoulders, shoulder, head, shoulder. So here's the neckline that we've just broken through. If we can hold this neckline, then, and the volume can be maintained at least this level, if not this level. If we can come up on volume, then I can't see why this can't wiggle up to at least 12, maybe 14 or 15. All right, bear in mind this is a hefty old slam dunk, so it's got a lot to do to start to recover these levels, and that 10 mark is going to be a big barrier. Right, now stocks that I really like. But I talked about defensive stocks, so something like things like Avon Protection, pull back to 1750 on that one's good. Commodity related, Glencore. So healthcare, miners, and commodity related stocks would normally do well in that environment. Rio, yeah, I think Rio is interesting. If we can come a little bit deeper into that 65, 68, let me make a note of that because I like that. That will be great. So we seem to be doing another corrective pattern here. If we can just correct a little bit deeper into this July support, then I'm in. Right, the ones I want to look at are nope, I'm not interested in that one. Oh, here it is. Bear with me a sec. Right, healthcare. This is a potential. I've also looked at this in the past, haven't we? This has got slammed down. Most recently been down at 89. Volumes are. This looks a little low at the moment, but I would very much like to buy this. There's on that 92. Oh, this is PHP, Primary Health Properties. I'd like to buy at 92. So I'll keep you updated on Primary Health Properties. I need to do a bit more research on it because I only started looking at it today, but Sequin, no, not interested in that. What's the other one? Hang on, I've got it on my list here. Oh, okay, that's it. Where's that on my list? Okay, so I updated my list today. It's not showing, so let me just punch it in, type it in. That's really weird. I thought this list was up to date, and it doesn't appear to be. Right, here we go. This is a couple that I'm watching, not involved with at the moment. Legal and General. I need that to do a pullback to 290 on Legal and General. 280 will be way much better. So that's just a watch. The other one is right. Now this industry, they've had results last Thursday, I think it was. This industry has been hit with a whack higher in taxes because they're in the gaming industry. The government has slapped a massive increase on taxes on them, but that can pull back around about the 97 mark, or at least down to that £1 mark. I would be interested in buying rank to see if we can hold the top of this pattern and then push into 123 plus. So the tax rise is all priced in theory, and now so we're jostling with this 110. It's got a problem with 110, but a deeper pullback into that 95, 96 would get me interested in rank. Let's see, is that seeing machines? Yeah, I was looking at this today. Funny you should mention this, because I was looking at this only about an hour or so ago. Clean this chart up. Can't remember why it came up. Okay, so this is a potential ambush zone anyway. 5.6 would be likely. Volumes are picking up at the moment. Where were we? We're up there on January. If we can hold this, I would have thought we could go and see the January highs, because that is a healthy pattern there. If we can hold this 4.8 and break 5.6, I would have thought they can go to that higher number. See, this pattern played out down here. Breached the support there in April 25, pulled back up in May, and subsequent pullbacks were bought. So that's Seeing Machines, ticker SEE, which at the moment is looking. What's your target on Seeing Machines? What's the other ones I've got? 6p, right. That would make sense. The 6.4 was the last high. The round number 6 is going to be a target for a lot of people. So 6p makes sense. Right, let me type in the other ones I'm interested in. Why are they not on my list? I put them in there. Gym, I don't want. Elgin, we've looked at. Ent, Intain. This is a much bigger gambler. They own all sorts of top gambling brands. Rank is quite a minnow compared with this one. You can see the effect of the tax changes on this one. So lower high, huge amount of support under there. If you look on the weekly, it's very divergent and a lot of volume coming in down here. We're above the averages. So if we hold this 550, or if we come down and retest £5 and hold, subsequently close above 6, this could potentially get back to 7 or 8 quid on Entain. The tickers can't be as GVC, but I'm sure the main ticker is ENT, isn't it? On your main platforms, not this this one. Yeah, Seeing was actually on my list. Right. Quiz. Anything else? Any other UK stocks you want to look at? Any UK stocks? Looking to sell B&M. I don't like B&M, but it has done well. Isn't it BMI or something? Can you remind me what the ticker is for that one? Don't know if the Amazon will get it for me. BME. BME. I've not looked at this one for a while. So the last range was here. Looks, that's come up on pretty weak volumes, means this is looking very vulnerable. If we start getting under, opening and closing under 25, I can see this falling off, because if you look across at the drop zone, so on a pure technical level, so the main drop zone was there. Yeah, so we're hitting this main 7th of October 25 drop zone at these highs. We are very divergent up there as well. You can see on the Bollinger Bands on the weekly, we're struggling. We closed lower last week. Volume's really coming off. In terms of data this week, we've got UK jobs. I think it's tomorrow morning, isn't it? We've got Fed minutes Wednesday, 2 hours before the close. What else was it? I've forgotten. I think those are the main ones. UK jobs. I've got UK inflation Wednesday morning. Yeah, so it's jobs 7 o'clock London time tomorrow. Looking for an increase in job unemployment. Core price inflation year on year Wednesday morning for the UK. Fed minutes 2 hours before the close on Wednesday. What else? That's a lot of other data, but nothing as significant as those. Yeah, but back to B&M. Yeah, that is really struggling under that. However, if we come down to £2.215 and hold, that might, next time it comes up to 238, 240, it might pop through. But I don't like this stock anyway. Series of lower highs. So lower high, lower high, lower high. Even once we bounce, we're hit the ambush zone, drop, lower high, drop. So finally bounced up here, but really, yeah, this is a big zone up here that we are currently failing on. That's my take on it anyway. Right. Let me just check my list, but I don't think I've got anything else on the list at the moment. US stocks. Let's just go through a couple of those. Mara. I'm looking to get in on this Mara. This starts holding down here. I'm in to see if we can get back to at least 1650 or higher. I would love to get 880. So I'll happily watch Mara and see if that can tip back to 880. Quick look at Netflix. I'm happy for that to come down to 75 and then buy Netflix. What's the other ones? PFE. So look at some big ones. Yeah, so we're seeing quite a push lower today. PFE is not on this list, so Pfizer is doing all right. Lovely move off of 23.60. Could so easily retest 25. Currently just bobbing around under this 27 resistance. So we've done a nice move already. So I wouldn't be at all surprised to see 25 again. At which point, yeah, volumes are beginning to slacken off here. So any retest of this 25, 25.50, I think is a buy to see if we can go and find 30 plus longer term. Netflix I like. What's the other one? Quick run net now. Service now, it's been on a bit of a run. AMD, wow, too high. Right, the other main US stock, and I'll finish on this one. SPCX, okay, hang on. I like APTV. Ooh. So we held here a little buy signal on this weekly. We've gap filled. So the technical to this is interesting. You can see we breached this low here, but we immediately closed higher. So yeah, I would be interested to buy 47 with a stop under these lows on this active ticker APTV. It's showing up as DLPH on this. This platform messes around with tickers for some reason, but active is interesting, and I would love to see 47 this week on that. Airbnb. Right, what's this one? Oracle. Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. Liking the volume that took this up to this recent high. Yeah, the main support down there is that 13.420. It would be good if this was able to come down and find that 13 again on Oracle. Great, thanks for watching. So just be careful out there with the sort of seasonal point that we're at. Quite some interesting data this week. Overall, I think these markets are on the whole okay, but we're just entering a potentially rockier period of volatility. Might see some deeper pullbacks. That's why I'm being patient in all these stocks. Hope that helps. Bye.